This video is sponsored by TokyoTreat and Sakuraco. More on them a little later. Sup everyone, welcome back to another video, and this has got to be the most requested video that people have asked me to make, and I've delayed it for a long time. I've talked about this subject in the past during live streams, and occasionally I brought it up in videos, but they're always fragmented opinions of mine. And today, I think it's time we finally just put this discussion to rest, and that is the overwhelming difference between the Honkai devs and the Genshin devs and their treatment of the player base, respectively, of course. So how should we break this down? Like, we need a basis, or we need a starting point for this discussion, or else it's just going to go everywhere. Let's start from the very beginning, because when Genshin first came out, a lot of people, I remember myself, were saying that, well, look at how the Honkai devs treat their player base, right? We should be expecting something similar. Now, how naive of us if we look at it in hindsight to even say something like that. But back then, who knew how things were going to turn out? We saw what the Honkai players were getting, and we're like, you know what? This is a pretty damn generous developer. And sure enough, with time, we were proven wrong. I think the very first telltale sign was the 1 year anniversary. Prior to the 1 year anniversary, people could say whatever the hell they want, but everybody held on hope and was like, you know, I would want to believe them. Why would Hoyoverse be stingy with the player base that shot them into the limelight? And remember, back in the day, there was Hoyoverse's treatment towards their own employees. They were giving out like PS5s, Nintendo Switches. They're just being generous all over. And there were no real telltale signs of their stinginess towards the Genshin player base. But do you know who is a generous company? TokyoTreat and Sakuraco. For those who don't know, TokyoTreat and Sakuraco are two distinct Japanese-themed snack boxes. Both are filled with up to 20 authentic snacks straight from Japan. This month's theme is Sakura Snacktastic and the beauty of Sakura. Yes, the season of cherry blossom, where you could take your boxes for Hanami, an event where you will view rows and rows of the fully bloomed cherry blossom trees. Fun fact, Vancouver actually has cherry blossoms similar to the ones in Japan. We are slightly early for that, but we can still enjoy it by Sakuraco's monthly tea, the sweet Sakura tea. This month's dishware is the Neko Sakura dish. Here we have my friend Joey trying out the boxes. He's a shy one, so excuse us while he approves of the goodies. If you want your own Sakuraco and TokyoTreat boxes, or want to gift this to friends for your own Hanami, you can use my code and link down in the description for a discount. Thank you again to TokyoTreats and Sakuraco for sponsoring this video. Fast forward to today, the anniversaries are just that. They're just your typical anniversaries for Hoyoverse in terms of Genshin Impact, right? Like, nobody at this point is expecting anything crazy for a Genshin Impact anniversary. You're probably going to get a music festival. You're probably going to get some goodies here and there, but overall, it's just going to be Hoyoverse patting themselves on the back and the player base getting a couple fouls and maybe a few pulls. But that was the first tell sign, right? It's the anniversary. And then came the problem that everybody till this day is still talking about, and that would be the negligence towards player feedback. Now, I've played enough gacha games, I've played enough games in general to know that 9 out of 10 developers don't give a damn what the player base says. You guys can vouch for me in the comments section. How often will you play a game and see the developer in active conversation with the player base and also applying the necessary changes to move the game towards a direction where the player base wants it, as opposed to its most monetary version of itself? It's very rare. And whilst Genshin did not go full-on crazy monetization on us, they sure as hell did not take many of the players' suggestions to heart. Now, I remember the game being 3 or 4 patches in, and the community was already crazy about artifact preset. Yes, I'm telling you guys right now, like half a year into Genshin Impact, back in, what was it, like 2021? People were already begging for artifact preset because nobody wanted to manually manually change 3 different sets of artifacts for characters every time they wanted to take on the Spiral Abyss. It was a nightmare, and it still is a nightmare till this day to switch out all your artifacts for characters. And guess what? Hoyoverse refused. They completely just ignored that input from the player base, and even today, the way it's implemented is not the way that the player base had anticipated. Because at the end of the day, what Hoyoverse really needs from the player base is to continue farming artifacts. Ideally, they would want you to spend the amount of time and resin to farm an artifact set for every single one of the characters. And guess what? Resin is something that some players are willing to pay for in order to get more progress towards the artifact grind. So why would Hoyoverse let you just click one button and switch everything over in an instant when they want to incentivize you to spend more resin and more time within their game, right? Time, resin is money, time is also playtime for their game. So all in all, there was never really any incentive for them to give us the preset. And not to mention, now finally, we need to talk about the thing that I think grinds people's gear the most, and that is the amount of freebies that Hoyoverse has willingly given to their Honkai player base. This conversation I've talked in depth on some live streams, but I'm just gonna knock it out right here once and for all. And I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. I'm just trying to explain the phenomena. I'm not trying to make excuses for Hoyoverse, but at the end of the day, Hoyoverse fully understands how popular Genshin is versus how popular Honkai is. What I mean by that is, if you are the owner of, let's say, a bubble tea store, and you know number 2 large is one of your most popular items, you almost never need to even mention it, and you sell a ton of number 2 large. Do you think you're gonna end up doing events promoting number 2 large? It's like, hey, here is an event so you guys could get more number 2 large, or you're gonna give huge discounts for number 2 large, or find any way to push number 2 large even more. You probably don't need to, right? This item is already immensely popular with your customers. They come in, you're selling out almost number 2 large. So of course, you're gonna end up spending more money and time pushing other products. Maybe number 3 small, maybe number 1 is buy one, get one free. And it's the same thing with Honkai and Genshin. I'm not saying Honkai is not popular, but compared to Genshin, man, Honkai, nothing really rivals to Genshin in Hoyoverse's catalog of games right now. So why would they want to give more freebies to the game and the product that is already selling well, that is already having people coming back in droves? It just doesn't make any sense. If it's already succeeding, don't really do much with it, right? You don't really need to do anything. Just let the game play its course out. Just let the player base keep enjoying the contents of the game. You don't need to say like, oh my god, I need to give free 5 stars. Oh my goodness, I need to make sure the anniversary is booming or else I'm gonna lose players. They've already done crappy anniversaries. The player base still stuck around, right? And a lot of people want to argue that Genshin is dying, Genshin is not as popular as it used to be. Genshin is doing fine. Their player base is actually going strong. Yes, it's not growing at the rate it used to be, but hey, for a game that it's in its like what, 4th year, going into its 5th year, for a game that is going strong many years, for a gacha game at that, right? What more can you ask for? As long as it's not in steep decline, it's considered a success, a huge success. So all in all, when people say like, wow, look at Honkai getting all the free stuff, look at Honkai implementing all the changes we've ever wanted with Genshin Impact, it's this way because of how successful Genshin is. A lot of people want to think that, well, just because a game is successful means that the developer owes it to its player base to make the game even better, when they don't stop to think that when a game is already good enough in the developer's eyes, there's no really need to then push any more changes, right? So taking these amazing inputs and putting it towards a product that is still in development so it can have the potential to rise to the level of their peak product, which is Genshin Impact. That's what's more important to Hoyoverse. They know that Genshin's success also has a lot of luck involved with it, and they cannot replicate that luck, but they can use all of this amazing input you guys are giving them right now and putting them into future products, so to make sure that even without the insane amount of luck, that those products can still compete in the gacha game market. And that is why Genshin Impact will never get the love that it truly deserves from the developers. Comment down below what you guys think, because honestly, this conversation can go on for hours, for days. And yes, I understand it's unfair towards Genshin players with how Hoyoverse is treating the player base, but you guys gotta understand, a business will always be that, a business, a transaction. And I guess Genshin at its core is really just suffering from success. And that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Till the next one, urge y'all to stay safe. Peace, peace. Bye.